Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Usually, we spend our time breaking down dense research papers, massive data sets, or really complex scientific phenomena. But today, we're doing something a little bit different, and honestly, incredibly fun. We're going to practice the art of visual forensics. We're going fundamentally back to basics to show how the deepest, most complex stories out there don't always require thousands of pages of text. Sometimes an entire ecosystem, a human economy, and a technological footprint are all hiding in plain sight within a single, seemingly ordinary frame.
So here's the big question we'll be tackling today. How much of a story can one single photograph really tell? You know, in our fast-paced scrolling culture, we tend to glance at an image for maybe a fraction of a second before immediately moving on to the next piece of content. We take the surface value, register a quick emotion, and just swipe away. But today, I really want to challenge you. I want you to embrace your inner digital sleuth. Slow down and actually look. Because if you know how to read the visual data, a simple picture becomes an encyclopedic record of time, place, and survival.
Take a really close look at this image. At first glance, you're probably just seeing a dry tree out in a dry field, right? You might categorize it as a nice standard landscape shot and move on. But over the next few minutes, we are going to dissect this exact picture layer by layer. We're going to pull it apart visually to uncover a truly fascinating narrative about ecological resilience, human agriculture, and modern technology. This is our crime scene, our research subject, and our map all rolled into one. The visual forensics journey starts right now. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the deceiving centerpiece, where we really focus in on our main subject. Just look at the sheer amount of environmental evidence jumping out at us right from the foreground. Whenever you're doing visual analysis, you always want to start by focusing on the most prominent feature taking up real estate in the frame. Here, our eye goes straight to that massive, spindly tree standing right in the center. Notice the dirt beneath it? The soil there is rocky, reddish-brown, and totally missing any sort of lush ground cover. And the central tree itself is completely lacking a leafy canopy. If you really squint at the tips of those brittle, exposed branches up against the blue sky, they're actually tiny, dark, dried seed pods just hanging on. Even the little patches of grass scattered around the rocks look pale and totally parched. Logically, all of these visual cues hit the nail on the head. This ecosystem is right in the middle of a seriously arid, dry season.
But here is the absolutely crucial point. Bare branches against a clear blue sky tell a story of dormancy, not death. It is so easy to look at that skeletal tree and assume, well, it didn't survive those harsh conditions. But actually, this is a brilliant survival mechanism. The tree is intentionally dropping its leaves to conserve water and energy during the dry season. It's playing the role of a deceiving centerpiece, looking totally lifeless, but in reality, it's just hitting the pause button and waiting. It's literally a calculated biological strategy happening right in front of us.
Moving on to section 2, let's explore survival at the roots and that stark contrast down at the base. Check out this wild contrast. If you guide your eye downward, moving from those brittle, sleeping branches way up high, straight down to the absolute base of the trunk where it meets that dry soil, we find a pretty massive visual contradiction. Up top, we've got the dormant tree, leafless, brittle, completely baked by the sun. But right at its feet, there are these vibrant, bright green leafy shrubs that are just absolutely thriving. It's a completely jarring juxtaposition. How is it even possible that in an environment dry enough to strip a massive tree bare, these tiny, delicate little shrubs are flourishing? Well, the answer lies in something called a microclimate. That's basically a highly localized set of atmospheric conditions that differ, sometimes wildly, from the surrounding area. See, even though the tree's branches are totally bare, the trunk itself casts just enough shade throughout the day to lower the soil temperature right at its base. Plus, the root system of a tree that size is likely holding on to trace amounts of moisture in the dirt, keeping it from evaporating into that dry air. What happens is, it creates this tiny, sheltered oasis. The big tree takes the absolute brunt of the harsh environment, and in doing so, it inadvertently builds this protective microclimate that lets those vibrant green leaves survive. It's an entire, complex, ecological relationship, perfectly captured in just a few pixels. All right, let's zoom out a bit for section 3, the human horizon, moving beyond that wild foreground. So far, we've heavily analyzed the immediate, wild nature right up close, but the story absolutely does not end there. A truly great photograph pulls you through space, and reading the depth of field totally shifts our understanding of this location. It's like a 3-step journey. Step 1 is where we started,
right in that rocky, untamed foreground. Step 2 is our midground, which is dominated by that resilient, dormant tree bridging the gap. But step 3, that is where the narrative completely flips. As your eye reaches the background, the wildness just abruptly stops. It's replaced by a really neatly partitioned landscape. We're transitioning visually from a world ruled by nature to a world very clearly ruled by humans.
You can actually spot specific signs of the human footprint hiding way back there on the horizon. Take a look at those expansive golden yellow fields stretching across the back. That is definitely not wild grass. The color and uniformity scream harvested crops. And check out the clear, straight dividing lines creating distinct agricultural plots. Nature just doesn't draw perfectly straight lines like that, right? Oh, and if you really squint at the far left horizon, just above the tree line, you can spot these long, low white structures. Those are a huge giveaway for greenhouses or polytunnels. This completely changes everything about the image for us. We aren't out in some remote, untouched wilderness at all. We are actually standing on the untamed rocky edge of a heavily cultivated, highly utilized agricultural zone.
Now for our final piece of the puzzle, Section 4, a future digital footprint, looking at the anomaly in the metadata.
Okay, so we've extracted the ecology, and we've mapped out the human agriculture, but there is one more massive, almost baffling clue hiding in plain sight. Up until now, everything we've looked at, the dry dirt, the sleeping tree, the farming, it could all exist almost entirely outside of any specific timeline. Like this could be 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or literally yesterday. So I want to pause and ask you this. When exactly was this photo taken? What is the actual timeline of this natural scene we've been digging into?
To figure that out, I don't want you looking at the trees or the fields anymore. I want you to focus all the way down on the bottom right corner of the image. Hovering right over that dry grass and those ancient-looking rocks is a digital stamp. It was placed there by the camera software the exact millisecond the shutter snapped.
Let's read exactly what that watermark says. It boldly states the device a Galaxy S20 FE 5G. It gives us the precise date, May 24th, 2026, and it even gives us the exact time of day down to the minute, 12:08 p.m. So suddenly, this isn't just a photograph anymore. It's a highly specific logged data point.
Just let that year sink in for a second. 2026. We've spent this entire explainer unpacking the ancient rhythms of nature, right? Trees shedding leaves to survive the dry season, the delicate little balance of a microclimate, traditional crop harvesting, and yet this exact precise configuration of sunlight, leaves, and rocks is anchored explicitly to May 24th, 2026, just past noon.
It presents this absolutely fascinating paradox. A digital stamp permanently tethers this timeless, wild scene to a highly specific, modern technological moment. I mean, out in the wild, nature doesn't keep a calendar that we can see, but our tech definitely does. The inclusion of that smartphone watermark basically overlays the invisible grid of our hyper-connected, digitized modern life right on top of the rugged, dirt and rock reality of the natural world. It really proves that no matter how quiet or untouched a landscape might feel, the lens capturing it is firmly, undoubtedly rooted in the high-tech present.
So, looking at the full image back one last time, think about how differently you view this scene now compared to when we first started just a few minutes ago. It is no longer just a dry tree. It's a complete masterclass in observation. You now see the biological genius of nature's resilience in those dormant branches and that sheltered microclimate at the roots. You see the expansive reach of human agriculture drawing sharp lines in those distant golden fields. And of course, you see the unmistakable digital timestamp of our modern era sitting quietly in the corner. You guys, we have completely decoded the landscape.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. If we can pull a complex story about climate, ecology, agriculture, and technology out of one standard smartphone photo of a tree, what hidden stories are waiting in the background of your own photographs? I challenge you, the next time you open your camera roll, don't just swipe past, pause, zoom in, look at the corners, check out the shadows, look at the horizons. Be a visual sleuth in your own life because you might just be amazed at the incredible stories you uncover. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep observing, keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.